See, from the docket of March 3rd, 2026, I entertain a motion to amend the language of Fund 2074 fireworks event to add fundraising activities for future year fireworks events and to include language for detail rate for laborers who work at after-hour city events with the amended fund description to read as follows. 2074 fireworks event to receive donations supports fireworks events in the city to include but not limited to fireworks displays, police, fire, and laborers details, city employee overtime, printing costs, entertainment costs, any additional costs for future, for the event, fundraising activities for future year's fireworks events to be expended by the administrative assistant to the council or designee authorized by the mayor.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. This is pretty self-explanatory. I'm actually very much in favor of this. I think it adds a layer of transparency, explains exactly what the funds are, especially when we're getting public donations. Any questions, concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. From the docket of March 3rd, 2026, I entertain a motion to authorize school department to pay the following fiscal 25 fiscal obligations that were not received in time to be processed in the normal fiscal 25 business cycle. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Tavares. It's pretty self-explanatory. We do a lot of these. This expenditure for Centricity came in after July 1st, June 30th rather, so it's $32 for Centricity. Any questions, thoughts, concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. From the docket of March 3rd, there is a public hearing later. I'm going to read this into the record now. From the docket of March 3rd, 2026, I entertain a motion to approve the following resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a tax increment exemption, a tie agreement between the city of Attleboro and Mill Properties, Inc. Attleboro Municipal Council resolution authorizing a tax increment exemption agreement for Mills Property, Inc. Whereas Mill Properties, Inc., the owner of the building located at 49 Union Street, parcels 028-400-00A, 028-400-000, and 028-401-000, in the city of Attleboro, is proposing to construct a new market rate multifamily residential building. Total investment at this location, including site preparation and construction, will be approximately $49 million. And whereas Mill Properties, Inc. is seeking to become a certified project in accordance with the Massachusetts Housing Development Incentive Program and is seeking a tax increment exemption agreement from the city of Attleboro in accordance with the Massachusetts Housing Development Incentive Program and Mass General Law, Chapter 40V, and whereas the city of Attleboro strongly supports increased economic development within its downtown, increasing market rate housing inventory within the city, and expanding the customer base for downtown businesses, and whereas the proposed project meets the location and eligibility criteria set forth in the Downtown Attleboro Housing Development Zone and Plan, and whereas the Economic Development Incentive Board has negotiated an agreement voting to approve a tax increment exemption agreement structure for Mill Properties, Inc., and now recommends authorization of said agreement and vote by the Municipal Council of the City of Attleboro. Now therefore be resolved that the Municipal Council in the City of Attleboro hereby A, ratifies and authorizes mayor to execute a tie pursuant to the Massachusetts Housing Development Incentive Program between Mill Properties, Inc. and the City of Attleboro to further the development of market rate residential housing on South Main Street in downtown Attleboro, including the following parcels. Parcel 028-400-00A, B, parcel 028-400-000, and parcel C, parcel 028-401-000. B, authorizes the mayor or her designee to take such other and further actions as may be necessary or appropriate to carry out the purposes of this resolution.
Second.
The motion is in order. We're not going to take any comments on this because we're just reading it in the record where the public hearing is tonight. I'm not going to vote it out, but I just wanted it read into the record, so.
I'll withdraw my second.
Thank you. From the docket of March 3rd, 2026, I entertain a motion to appropriate $600,940,000.73 from account 1000-3590000, undesignated fund balance, free cash general government, to account A52000A 0-517120, school insurance programs, health insurance, HMOs, in order for school department to be able to use unspent fiscal 2025 net spending funds for this current fiscal year.
Second.
Thank you. This is something we do every year when free cash is certified. The non-net school spending will go back to be part of the free cash, and then when we have the opportunity per the contract, which I believe the memo goes back to March 31st, 1999, these funds, and this is the next, same for the next one as well, go back into the schools. So it kind of helps give that cushion there. Questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. From the docket of March 3rd, 2026, I entertain a motion to appropriate $556,786.51 from account 1000-3590000, undesignated fund balance, free cash, general government, to account 1300100-551011, school appropriation Medicaid, for eligible net school spending expenses resulting from the Medicaid reimbursement program pursuant to the memorandum of understanding on the municipal revenue sharing agreement between the city of Attleboro and the Attleboro School Department.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. I don't have anything to add. It goes back to the revenue sharing agreement, which again goes back 26, 27 years. Any questions or concerns? Seeing none, this will be a voice vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. There is one more piece of business that I'm holding. We'll discuss next week, and I'll explain at that time. That being said, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? We adjourned at 6:37.
Good evening, everyone. Madam Clerk, are all members present?
Mr. President, they are.
Thank you. Please join me in the salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. And for tonight, we want to suspend the rules so that we can recognize Virginia. And so I move to suspend the rules.
Second.
Any questions on why we're suspending the rules? With that said, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, we are now operating under suspended rules. And with that said, Virginia, would you join us at the podium? Madam President Dolan?
She's so cool. Yeah. I'm not even.
Outstanding. So good to see you.
It's weird to be on the side of the door.
Yeah. All right. On behalf of the Attleboro Municipal Council and the residents of the City of Attleboro, please accept our heartfelt appreciation for your 8 years of dedicated service to the City of Attleboro as Administrative Assistant to the Municipal Council. Whereas Virginia Stewart Becker faithfully served as Administrative Assistant to the Municipal Council of the City of Attleboro from December 18th, 2017 to January 16th, 2026, totaling 8 years of dedicated public service. And whereas throughout her tenure, Virginia Stewart Becker has demonstrated exceptional professionalism, integrity, efficacy, efficiency, and commitment in supporting the legislative functions of the Municipal Council. And whereas she has provided invaluable administrative support, maintained accurate records, and coordinated meetings, prepared official documents, and ensured the smooth operation of council activities. And whereas her dedication and institutional knowledge have greatly contributed to the effectiveness, transparency, and continuity of municipal government operations. And whereas it is fitting and proper that the Municipal Council formally recognize and express its sincere appreciation for Virginia Stewart Becker's years of outstanding service to the community. Now therefore be it resolved by the Municipal Council of the City of Attleboro that it hereby extends its deepest gratitude and heartfelt appreciation to Virginia Stewart Becker for her exemplary service and congratulates her upon the occasion of her well-earned retirement. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be presented to Virginia Stewart Becker as a token of the Council's esteem and best wishes for continued health, happiness, and success in retirement. Passed and adopted this third day, March 2026. Signed, sealed, Todd Kobus, President, Laura Dolan, Vice President.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate you guys.
Same.
I don't think I would have made this long because I didn't really deserve it, but up to you.
Walk around.
My dear.
Outstanding. Thank you so much.
Thank you both. Appreciate it. All in that team. Thank you. Thank you very much. Sorry we didn't work together.
I know, not too long.
Oh, yeah.
No karaoke here? No.
How you doing? Good. Used to keep coming back.
Yeah.
It's always a good sign.
Thank you, sir. You too.
Appreciate it. Appreciate you all.
Same.
Do not
Back
do
down
what
to
you
the-
do, but thank you for doing it.
They saved the best for last.
How did I miss you?
I don't know.
I hope it's a short night.
Yeah.
I'm not saying.
Outstanding. And is the planning board available?
Yes.
All right, Madam Clerk, will you read the first, the joint public hearing?
I certainly will.
Thank you.
Public hearing for March 3rd, 2026. The Municipal Council and Planning Board will hold a joint public hearing for the following. The rezoning petition filed by John F. D. Jacoby III on behalf of 94 County Street LLC regarding a proposal to rezone land located at 0 County Street, Assessors Plat number 31, lot number 237, from central business to transit-oriented development, and 92 through 104 County Street, Assessors Plat number 32, lot 6, from industrial to transit-oriented development.
Thank you. And first of all, thank you for your flexibility in being able to join us tonight.
Thank you.
So, is there anyone here to speak in favor?
Good evening,
Mary Jacoby?
Mr. President, members of the council, Madam Chair, members of the planning board, Jack Jacoby, 144 Bank Street. I represent the applicant. We are here asking you to rezone the Lamco building to TOD from central business. And Jim, how do I make this move forward?
There should be two, yeah.
That one?
Yeah.
Aha. So there is the Lamco building. It is, to my knowledge, over 100 years old. It is seen better days, and it is prime for redevelopment into apartments. This is the existing conditions plan, so you can see the lot. You can see the river, Wall Street, County Street, and there's the buildings. And there is a small parking lot which is across the street that's also associated with it, so it is on the, I would say, the west side, if I have my directions correct, of County Street. And that is important to us to include that because we want to make sure we have enough parking for this project. I hear parking has been an issue sometimes lately. So what we're planning on doing is knocking the building down and building a brand-new building. This is the artist's rendering of the building looking from the river. And this would be looking with the river on the left, County Street on the right. This would be from County Street turning onto Wall Street. And this shows you the lot coverage that we would have in order to build this building. So it's what's outlined in red there. And this would be the striped parking lot across the street in that other associated lot. And this really doesn't give you much. So the way this would be constructed, if it's rezoned and if we get all the approvals we need, is that it would be what's called podium-style construction. So that means a metal shell with parking underneath on the ground floor of the building, and then wood construction above that. And so this is the second floor plan, which shows you the apartments on the second floor. There is a mix of apartments. It's basically a 2-to-1 ratio of 1-bedroom apartments to 2-bedroom apartments. There are no threes, there are no studios. And then the third through the sixth floor, this is the floor plan for that. And this is all the dry stuff, but I think it's somewhat important. And so I want to emphasize to you that a lot of thought to this project. As I said, it's in the central business district. Now, we want to put it in the TOD district. The reason for that is that the TOD district would allow us on this size lot to put this size building. The central business district would require about twice as much square footage. Central business district zoning has not been updated in quite some time. I suspect Gary may be looking at that at some point, but this would be what we need. So we're talking about 120 residential apartments. We're talking about 73 1-bedrooms, 47 2-bedrooms. We're talking about creating 152 total parking spaces, which is about 1 1/4 parking spaces for each unit. which is more than the zoning board has typically been requiring, but it's the same number of parking spaces per unit that we provided in the project over at 135 County Street, the old high school, the original high school. That one has about the same level of parking, about 1.25 to 1 for the units. We'll also have 40 bike parking spaces, 5 ADA compliant parking spaces, 33 electrical charging stations. The project will have a fitness room, a community area, and 116 of the parking spaces are underneath the podium, 36 are in the open lot. I would suggest to you, I can go on here, that there are some benefits to this. As you know, we adopted a master plan many years ago and an urban renewal plan. Both of them call for housing of this nature in downtown. The concept has been that if we get enough critical mass of apartments downtown, that we will attract the businesses that will want to serve those people, restaurants, butchers, bakers, etc. So this complies with that master plan. This slide shows you the current TOD district boundary, and as you can see, it's this whole area here with Wall Street on the north, and river actually is over here. So this piece here is where the Lamco building is, and this is the parking lot that's across the street. I'm going to, in a few minutes, bring Jeff Dirk up from Vanass and Associates to talk about traffic, because traffic is always an issue in this city. But I will tell you, if I can skip ahead a little. There we go. So this would only be the first step in a long process. If this council does rezone this property, we would then be filing simultaneously with the Conservation Commission and the Zoning Board of Appeals. We would need a special permit from them in order to build the building, because it's required in the TOD zone for multifamily. The Conservation Commission would be issuing a stormwater permit and also an order of conditions, because, as you know, we're right next to the river. And so since this property has already been developed and it's basically impervious now, we're actually going to decrease the imperviousness by a little bit, but mostly the lot will still stay covered. This will provide a number of jobs, small number of permanent jobs, but there will be construction jobs. We're looking at 150 construction-related jobs, 7 to 8 full-time permanent jobs, and 20 part-time jobs to service this apartment building. Obviously, the real estate taxes would go up fairly significantly. We are not asking for any TIF or other program, so we are going to build this ourselves and pay the full taxes. So before I bring Jeff up, I just want to say that this is an underutilized building. We have actually met with the fire department, and I understand there would be certain challenges in fighting a fire in this building. In fact, the comment that was made was, how soon can you knock it down? Which I understand that, you know, an old building with wooden sections, with all sorts of activities that have gone on there over time, it's a firefighter's nightmare probably to be in there. And so we understand that. So I'm going to bring Jeff up to talk about traffic, unless you have any questions of me at this
Yeah,
point.
do we have any questions for Attorney Jacoby? Please.
Go backwards a little bit. think so, yeah.
Okay, great. Good evening, members of the council and the planning board. For the record, my name is Jeffrey Dirk. I'm the managing partner with Vanessa & Associates and one of the transportation consultants for the project. We do a fair amount of work in the city, working with Gary. This project in and of itself, I think it's unique from the standpoint of a lot of the transportation assessments we do, given its location. And I think that's what we're here to talk about tonight is its proximity to public transportation. And that provides a lot of advantages for the residents that live here, but also I think as the city is looking at reducing traffic and parking demands, this is the perfect location for that. We're within probably a minute or two walking distance of the train station, which also has 5 bus lines. So it's perfectly oriented to take advantage of those opportunities. So a properly designed project with the accommodations to link the site to those amenities, including sidewalks and ADA accessible wheelchair ramps and crosswalks, will facilitate those connections. So we've undertaken an assessment of how the project might impact the transportation system, looking at County Street, Wall Street, and the connections over to the train station itself. And what we looked at was conditions before and after the project, and really measuring, what is the impact on motorist delays and vehicle queuing at those intersections in the vicinity of the project site. And the project itself is expected to produce somewhere between 41 to 44 peak hour trips. So the peak hour in this area is generally 7 to 8 in the morning and 4 to 5 in the evening. That's when the traffic volumes are the highest on the roadway. And this is what the project would produce during those 1 hour time periods when the traffic's at its highest levels. And as we looked at adding that traffic to the roadway network, there is capacity. So what we were showing is basically all of the intersections would operate at acceptable levels. Generally, I wouldn't be talking about that, would be at capacity and looking at trying to make some improvements. But again, this is a location that is advantageous because we can reduce the amount of automotive trips, and there's still some capacity on the roadway network. And we did work with Gary to identify the other transit-oriented development that's in the area that may be built out and bring somewhere around 600 additional units. So that's built into our analysis as well. So we're really looking to the future in planning on the project. There's no safety deficiencies in the area, and I think that's also important as we're undertaking our assessment. We work with the police department to understand where there are high crash locations in the area. And so this is a location, again, it's walkable, it's bikeable, and it's also safe from the standpoint of there's no significant motor vehicle crash history. We also look at sight lines at the driveways. As you heard from our attorney, we have a parking lot that's across the street from the site. We also have parking within the site. We make sure that it's safe to walk there, but it's also safe if you're a motor vehiclist or motorists pulling out of those driveways. Can you see vehicles that are coming at you? I know the council and the planning board are very familiar with the site. The sight lines are very good from the standpoint of trying to locate some driveways. We did provide some recommendations for consideration when the building is brought forward, and those really deal with things that the planning board would consider, which is we do have that off-site parking lot, being able to walk there safely. So looking at the traffic signal at the intersection with County Street and making sure that there's push buttons, that there's signal indications, that it's a safe walking environment. So we've undertaken that evaluation as well, provided some recommendations. All of the infrastructure is there, just needs a little bit of updating, so we've recommended that. But again, back to the project in this location, it's advantageous given the fact that we have these public transportation amenities within a 1-minute walking distance. The commuter rail station, 5 bus lines, so it's perfect for reducing traffic and parking demands. So I'll be happy to answer any questions you have now or later on in the evening.
Councilor Delizio.
Thank you. So thanks for coming out tonight. It's good information. I think it's a really positive project for the city. My question from your perspective and a traffic perspective, what impact will the demolition of this building have on the traffic downtown?
So I think from the standpoint of the demolition of the building itself, it's always something where a construction management plan is very important. And I think what we always do, working with Gary and the city departments, is making sure, I think importantly, truck routes and maintaining pedestrian access in the area are probably the most important things. We can deal with the construction worker parking because I think the opportunity that we have with that off-site parking lot is really saying there's no on-street parking, there's no use of parking within the commuter rail lot. You have this parking lot, so stage in there. And then looking at that construction management plan and saying no trucks through residential neighborhoods, keep them on the main roads, and of course controlling the hours. Which we work with Gary and with the city departments to make sure that that's very tight and defined, to make sure it's a very safe plan and we're minimizing any impacts to residential streets.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Vice President Dolan.
So when I look, thank you for coming. So when I look at this plan, it looks like there's only one
exit and entrance, is that correct? Is that how, am I looking at it correctly, that it's only on Wall Street?
Correct. Beneath the building, there's just that one curb cut that's there, and then, of course, we have the off-site parking lot as well. So the parking is distributed between two sites. If we try to put it on one site, it might be something where we'd want the two access points, but I think it's advantageous not to have the driveways out to County Street, which is what they have now, and to put them onto Wall Street, so everyone's coming out has the benefit of that traffic signal.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Councilor Morrissey.
As far as the cars exiting this, my one concern would be when the light is red and the cars are backed up on Wall Street, I could just see cars blocking the road because they don't want to wait for the next car. They're afraid they'll be waiting and waiting at the red light. So how is that going to be handled?
So one of the recommendations we have as we're looking at the traffic signal was some retiming of that traffic signal to reflect the fact that we do have vehicles kind of exiting now rather than County Street coming out to the back of the signal, so that we're retiming it so that that queuing doesn't get back to the point where it's regularly blocking the driveway is what we're doing. When we get, and again, bringing the building forward, there's also opportunities where we could put do not block pavement markings if that's something that's desirable for the city. That would be done in addition to retiming the signal, because anytime we put the do not block it physically creates a gap and you don't want the signal to all of a sudden turn red because a car's not coming there. So we retime the traffic signal, add the do not block markings, and those in concert really work well together.
So about like the Wall Street crossing, there is currently the pedestrian crossing there, from the trail that then connects to the Riverwalk. Was that also looked at for?
It was, yeah, and I think as you look at the plans, you'll see it's been integrated into a walkway that also goes around the project site as well.
Yes. Go ahead.
When you were looking at the traffic study, did you look at the effect this might have on the Main Street light at the center of town with County from Main Street?
Yes.
Because I know if they go down Wall Street towards Main Street, which might be what they do if there's a red light and
Correct.
they can't get onto County, or depending on which way they want to go on Main Street, that light backs up all day long.
Right,
2 or 3 cycles.
yeah, I mean,
From that direction, not as bad from any other direction.
Right. We did consider it as it relates to the project itself, and again, as we look at the 41 to 44 vehicles, some coming out of the Wall Street driveway, but also some on the parking lot that's across the street, so it'll be distributed between those 2 points. As you get away from the driveway, those numbers get small, so as we get away from probably looking at the impact of that intersection, the hourly flow there is probably 15 to 20 vehicles added to that intersection. So although there's some conditions, as you said, for backups and queuing related to that signal, especially during the time periods,
I mean, it happens like middle of the day. You
Right.
can sit there for 3 light cycles.
there's probably a need for retiming of that traffic signal, and I think that's something that can be revisited as well once the building is brought forward. Since we're already retiming one of the traffic signals, we can certainly do that, because that, what you're describing would say the signal's obviously not operating efficiently.
It's not so much the signal as it is driver behavior. People taking a left onto County coming from North Main Street towards downtown do not stop when their light changes to yellow. They just keep going. So it causes the other direction
Yeah.
to then not be able to make more than maybe 3, 4, 5 cars through the light.
So people are not really obeying the light
Yeah.
and causing those issues. Looking at retiming can address some of that. There may be some need for, maybe we need to think about how the phasing works at the intersection, some additional signs, things like that. So I think that would be something that would need to be looked at, because it sounds like it's not as simple as just tweaking that traffic signal. It's
No, it's
tweak-
not. It is
tweaking-
not as simple as
yeah.
tweaking the traffic signal.
Tweaking
It's a very
mode,
difficult section in general because of the shortness of some of those intersections after you turn onto County Street and some other things in there. So
Do we have other, Councilor Holmes?
Thank you. Just going off of what Councilor Delacio was mentioning, do you, and I know, Jack, you mentioned that you didn't really have a time frame yet, but do we know when the demolition, what season it would happen, or a time frame of when you're hoping this project would be starting, just so we have an idea?
Assuming that this council acts within the next couple of months, we would then be able to file with the boards. So I would say that the earliest we could probably break ground would be next spring. And then typically a project like this is 18 months. Yeah, my client's back there nodding yes. So it's about 18 months to build. One of the things that I think is unique about this is having that additional lot across the street, because not only would it help with the demolition, but then with the construction, the workers have a place to park, and we have a place to stage materials across the way that would be, brought across when needed. But that gives you an opportunity you don't find with any other downtown lots. If you were to redevelop something in the center of town on Park Street, there's no other additional lot. So this is somewhat unique in that sense.
Yeah, definitely. And then I just have another one. Thank you.
Please.
So, because that has been used as a manufacturing building, is there any concerns about the soil or?
I'm sorry, I
Is
lost
there
some
any- I said-
hearing in my
yeah,
left
that's
ear
okay.
at a Rolling Stones concert in
Yeah,
1999. So if you could just speak a
Yeah.
little bit louder.
I was mentioning that that building, because it's been used as an industrial area, is there any concerns about the soil or remediation that's gonna need to take place close to the town?
We've done our 21Es.
Okay,
And when we take the building down, there's going to have to be air quality controls. There's going to have to be bagging and taking away things. One of the problems is when you take down a building that's 125 years old, you know what you can see, but you don't know what you can't see.
yeah.
And so there undoubtedly will be environmental protections that are going to need to be put in place. It will come down fairly slowly and piece by piece, as I understand it.
Okay.
Does anyone else have questions for Attorney Jacoby? Council Morrissey?
Oh, not for the attorney, for the traffic.
A traffic question, please.
I'm just wondering, with 120 apartments, how you came up with 40 vehicles at a time, and also why you stopped the study at 5 o'clock when a lot of people are getting out of work at 5, and really the commuting hours would be more towards 6:30.
Yeah, no, both very good questions, as I didn't explain them very well to begin with. So what the numbers, the 41 to 44, that's a 1 hour traffic volume that's produced. The project on a 24-hour basis, so if you counted everything going in and out, it's 510 vehicles. That's the total 24-hour volume we arrive at. The 41 and the 44 is, as I said, it's only the 1 hour period. So we'll take the 41, which I think is the morning number. That's the amount of trips that would be produced between 7 and 8 in the morning. Now, if I slide that, so what I would do if I plotted it, what you'd see is the total would be 510. It rises up and peaks to 7, 8, and then it starts to go down. It peaks a little bit in the afternoon, goes down, then it goes up again in the evening during those peak hours. But between those peak hours, there's traffic happening. So if I slid that if I looked at that graph and I slid it a little bit one way and I looked at, let's say, 8 to 9 in the morning rather than 7 to 8 in the morning, it may produce 40 vehicle trips. It's just not 41. So when we talk about the 41 and the 44, that's the top of those peaks that are happening, but it doesn't drop off a cliff after 8 o'clock where there's no traffic. So really what it is I think about, if you lived in a cul-de-sac, let's say, with a bunch of single-family homes on it, not everyone's leaving at the same time. So I may leave between 7 and 8 in the morning, so I'd be captured in that number, but I may have another neighbor that leaves between 8 and 9. They're not going to be in that number, but they're still coming and going on the road. But what we look at is the absolute highest volume that's produced during any 1 hour period of the day, and then we analyze that. And so that's what those numbers mean.
Thank you.
But just very quickly, we did an extended traffic count period. So we didn't just, I was talking about the peak hours, but we actually count for a 3 hour time period. Or usually it's a 2 hour period. So we counted actually, in this case, from 4 to 6 in the evening. And the peak hour happens to be during that 4 to 6 time period. If we look at the volume of traffic, it occurs between 4 and 5. That's when it's at its highest level. So we did an extended count period, and I'm only mentioning the time periods when the traffic is actually peaking. It's at its highest level, because that's when we add the 41 and the 44 on top of those peaks. But we actually counted over 2 days. So it's a very long count period.
Thank you.
And the other thing I could add is that for an apartment building of this nature right across the street from the train station, we would expect people to be attracted who were going on the train. So therefore, you're not going to get 120 people leaving, because a number of them will be on foot during that curve. And a number of them will probably work from home. I mean, I know my daughter goes in 1 day a week. And so you have a different mix of traffic in an urban setting like this, right across the street from the train station, than you would if you were putting the apartments at Highland Park, for instance, as an example. That would be a different thing because people are going to walk to the train. They're not going to get in their car and drive across the street and pay to park.
Vice President Dolan, then Councilor Sawyer.
Thank you. I have a traffic question. So when you said we may need to tweak the lights or whatever, is we, you? All?
Generally, I'm
Whose
sorry.
responsibility would it be to adjust the lights?
So when the building's brought forward, now, it can, generally we provided those recommendations, and they're generally something that, to the extent that that is needed to accommodate the traffic from this project, it becomes a part of the project, and as the planning board or zoning board puts conditions on the project, we generally work with Gary and staff. They develop a set of conditions. If the transportation analysis says that needs to be changed to accommodate the project, it's generally a condition, needs to be done prior to the issuance of building permit. And that's pretty common that that's done. And we just apply to the city for the necessary permits, and then we go and undertake the work. It's not necessarily something that the city expends any money associated with the need for those kind of improvements.
Right.
Mike Tyler would have to approve it, but we would be the ones who would do the work.
Right. Good, because we've had issues in the past where we've had projects and lights that weren't functioning properly, and I would love for it to be a condition that it's properly functioning at all levels, because we have had issues in the past, and if we end up with a problem, I don't want this to all be on Mike Tyler to alleviate any of these issues.
Yeah. I've never had a project where we've gone through planning board or zoning board where Gary's developed conditions where there hasn't been a condition that it's functional and operational, and we have to, generally you don't walk away from it. Once we have a condition that we have to retime the traffic signal or build something, or it gets inspected, and then there's usually a time period afterward where you make sure it works. There's usually at least a 1-year warranty on anything that's built. But I've never worked on a project where Gary's not developed conditions where we have to make sure it's actually functioning, or he calls and says, you need to get out there and fix this.
Yeah, that's critical. Thank you.
Typically, the zoning board will say that we can't get an occupancy permit unless we've made the changes that are in the conditions, which is their way of making sure we get the stuff done timely.
Thank you.
Councilor Sawyer.
I had two other small traffic questions, actually. When you do the traffic study, I imagine you would do it at the most busiest time of the year, because I imagine that there's, if it's a school vacation week, there's going to be
Correct.
more or less traffic than there would be during Christmas rush when you're trying to go out shopping, so
Right.
I imagine you would see times that would be at the highest level so that you would know exactly how many cars you would be expecting at
That's-
the biggest parts.
Absolutely correct. We do not count on vacations or holidays unless there's some reason to do counts during those time periods. We wouldn't count like a day today where if it's raining or snowing, we throw those counts out. It's got to be favorable weather conditions, so generally sunny conditions, and not something where schools are not in session or not in regular session. So we want to make sure it's a standard, typical day is what we'd be looking at.
And my other question is, right there is the Cumberland Farms too, and I know it's really hard to get out of Cumberland Farms sometimes to, especially turn left.
Right.
There, and if you're going to have another entrance coming onto Wall Street right there, that's going to be a very difficult intersection to navigate for any driver, I imagine. And so, did you look into that as well?
We did, and I think, to the extent we were talking about how the traffic signal functions, the proximity, we're not right on top of the signal, but our proximity to the signal actually starts to create some dynamic where it introduces some gaps. So there's a couple of things it does. It slows the traffic down on Wall Street when it's there. So that's advantageous because the gap that you need coming out is smaller when the traffic is going slower. But as the signal does its change to the red signal indication, it breaks up the flow of traffic that artificially creates some gaps as well. So there's some opportunity and advantages, not being right on top of the signal, but being far enough back that the timing of the signal creates some gaps.
Okay.
All right. Do we have any, Councilor Waterman?
Thank you. I have a particular interest in the bicycle part.
Yes.
Can you talk about that a little more? And I would imagine that you might get some folks like me who would actually bike over to the train station, and but you need to have enough, tell me about it.
So one of the things in our traffic study, we always have what's known as transportation demand management measures. And because of how close we are to both the trail system that's there as well as the train station, which you'll see in those recommendations with bicycle parking within the building, weather protected. So as you're looking at the parking garage, there'll be generally a bike room where you can ride your bike into the garage and have storage of your bicycles in there. We also, in looking at the site plan, we're connecting up to that trail system as well. So you'd be able to ride your bike out of the garage, and to some extent you can go up on the sidewalk. It's a short segment. Then you'll be right on the path, and then you can connect over using the crosswalks to be able to drive over to where the train station is and park your bike there. However, and I think some of the roads have been reconstructed so the wheelchair ramps are able to accommodate both wheelchairs as well as bicycles going down them. So that transition from the curb down to the street will help. The other thing is the speeds are relatively slow because of the traffic signal. And so that also provides some advantage so that there's a level of comfort, even though there's not dedicated bike lanes. You do have the sidewalks and the speeds are low. So it does provide some level of safety. But I think the important thing is building the building so that you have bicycle parking within the building. That's going to keep the numbers down to do that. So I think a dedicated bike room, and we've recommended that in our traffic study, but also exterior bike parking as well. So if you have a visitor, they might not be able to get into the garage to park their bike inside the bike room, but they'll be able to lock the bike up outside.
Okay, good.
Councilor Delicia?
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Next.
It's fine, someone first. No. Thank you. So another question as it relates to the demolition and the construction, the amount of trucks that are, how many trucks do you see during demo coming through? What times do you expect those to come through? And I'm assuming the truck route would be county to, just County Square down to South Ave. What impact would you, because we have businesses, we have houses, what impact would that have to the residents and businesses?
So I'm not, someone else is probably more well
I think I
versed.
can answer that better.
Sure.
So typically, this would be treated by the zoning board the same way an earth removal permit would be treated, that there would be blackout times when we could not have any trucking at all. The truck route would be designated and we would have to follow it. And we would have to, and I don't have that with me tonight, but we would have to estimate the time period and the number of trucks going in and out per day. And we'd also have to generally provide the stones so that we don't track stuff out onto the street, and a washing area to wash the wheels off. So all of those are typically things that the Zoning Board of Appeals would impose as conditions, because you don't want the trucks there at the height of rush hour. You don't want them there when the school buses are there. You don't want them there when the high school's letting out. So there are windows that they'll give us where we can use those trucks.
Thank you.
Please.
I had a couple questions. So one on the demolition. I didn't know, you said it was gonna be done slowly. Do you know if it'll be more of a deconstruction, or some of the materials could be reused and delivered to the recycling places that will reuse the building materials?
I don't think I can answer that properly, but I can tell you that in a building that's 125 years old, some of the stuff may be reusable, and some of the stuff may just be infused with some nastiness. And so it'll have to be properly disposed of, the things that can be.
And then I had a couple questions on the ground floor plan. So you said that there was gonna be a bike room. I don't see that on the architectural plan. Can you point out where that would be?
I can't tell you that I know exactly where it would be, but I can also tell you that these plans are not at the level of the plans that we would be submitting to the zoning board, so we would have much more detailed plans.
Okay, because then that was part of my next question in that too, was I wasn't sure if the squares are where the steel supports are going to be, because if the parking spaces are only 8 feet wide, which is already pretty narrow, I'm worried about car doors running into them and that being a bit of a hazard.
Again, the parking space size is controlled by the zoning board, so that we would have to pay some attention to that. 8-foot wide parking spaces are not appropriate. The minimum is 9. The city ordinance generally requires 10 feet wide. So we'll have to take a look at that. But certainly we can't We need to have the right number of spaces, but we also need to make them usable spaces.
Are there any other questions for Councilor Sawyer?
I have another question. I'm not sure if it's the right time to ask it, but you had mentioned the different number of apartments in here. I wonder if any of them are considered affordable or low-income housing.
This is a market rate project, and that's part of the reason we're not asking for any tax break from the city, is that in the end, it's always about the numbers.
Councilor Morrissey?
This might not be the right time either, but I'm just wondering, are there gonna be washer dryers in every one of these units?
Yes.
Are there any other questions? I have a quick question. So, and I don't think I got a great answer for, with these two pieces of property. Why would we rezone the second one, the parking lot one? Would there be any reason to do, why are we doing that one? Why are we including that one?
It's not particularly necessary, because we could ask the zoning board of appeals for a special permit to park off-site in a zone that's different. But it just struck me that if the whole thing was TOD, it would make our application process a bit smoother. That's the only reason for it. And it does connect to the to the zone. So I suggest to you it's not spot zoning, but if you were to rezone the main piece and leave the other as central business, we could deal with that.
Okay, perfect. Are there any further questions?
So let me just in closing say that we got a 125-year-old building that is tired and really not particularly useful, doesn't add much to downtown. And what we're hoping to do here is to turn this into a credit to the downtown, with jobs, with taxes, with commuters who will be looking to come here and then hopefully spend their money downtown at restaurants and other small businesses, dry cleaners and all the rest of the things that usually follow. I mean, that, in my knowledge, has been the policy of the city now for a couple of decades, which is to get as many people as we can living downtown, especially right around the train station. And so we believe that this complies with that policy that the city set quite some time ago. And as I said, I think this will, in some ways, open up the river and make it look a bit nicer, but it also will be a modern, efficient building. And so we ask that you rezone this so we can take the next step.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Is there anyone else to speak in favor? Is there anyone else to speak in favor? Is there anyone to speak in opposition? Is there anyone to speak neither for nor against? Gary?
Good evening, Council President, Councilors, Planning Board Chairman, and members of the Planning Board. It wasn't my intent to speak tonight, but I made some observations during the presentation strictly to the rezoning petition. I'm reserving any commentary on the traffic and the site plan. Should you rezone it, then the staff will do a full, thorough review. But made a couple of observations. I got 4 altogether, but 2 was specifically to the rezoning petition, and I may stand corrected, but I believe I heard Councilor Jacoby say it, meaning the lot on which the Lamco building is located on, to rezone that from central business to TOD. That's actually zoned industrial. So you probably already know that. I'm sure the planning board knows it, but for the general public that might be listening, that's actually currently zoned central business there. I'm sorry, is industrial. They actually corrected their application to show that. So I just want to state that for the record. There's also one of the slides. Jack, could you, I'm not sure, the one that shows the perimeter of the property for the zoning, it shows TOD. I think this is in your packet. Yeah, right here. So the tan line, I think this is talking, it said that that's zoned in TOD. That's actually, if you recall, that's the MBTA overlay that the council approved about 14 months ago. So this isn't the TOD. I'm not sure what the relevance of this is, but this is zoned TOD, not this. So this outer perimeter, because I drew it so I know, that's the MBTA overlay district. Just want to set that for the record. Council President, you mentioned about the lot across the street. Very intuitive. I raised the same question too. And I'm not sure, I already spoke with Attorney Jacoby at the time, I think even before they filed their application, whether or not that needs to be included. Unless anything changes, I don't think so. Because all this real estate here is zoned central business. Can't want to argue that this is similar to TOD, sure, but I think it's probably best if we left it CB and they could ask for another form of relief. And that's my thought. My last comment is your question, Councilor Delicio, about demolition. I believe Attorney Jacoby said that the zoning board would treat that similar to an earth removal operation. Demolition and earth removal are tantamount. So the zoning board would not insert itself into the demolition of a building. They only issue special permit for the land use. So without speaking to them, but the building commissioner, the public works superintendent, and the fire chief would be involved with the plan for the demolition, not the Board of Appeals. I don't want to just state and go along and say they would insert, that's not their jurisdiction. So I just want to state that for the record.
Any questions for Gary? Councilor Morrissey?
Would conservation or environmental be involved?
Sure.
Because that building is literally right on the
Absolutely,
river.
yeah.
There's no, not
Yep.
even a foot.
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions from the planning board? Just for my education, Gary, that additional lot, if that was not rezoned, would you still see a path forward for the project to be accomplished? Would it be
Absolutely, yeah.
A lot of extra
Absolutely there
hurdles?
is.
Okay.
There are two forms of relief. I'm not going to cite a verse and poem right now, but absolutely there is a path to achieve parking on that lot that's associated and would be locked up in a decision should the Board of Appeals grant the special permit. Absolutely, there is a path to that.
Okay. Any other questions? Hearing none. Thank you very much.
Thank you, folks.
Is there anyone else here to speak neither for nor against? Hearing none. Do we see any reason to keep this open? Thank you. Councilor Sawyer, do you see any reason to keep this public hearing open?
No, I don't know.
I declare this public hearing closed. Thank you very much. And I appreciate your flexibility again.
Thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, will you read the next public hearing?
Certainly. Second public hearing this evening regarding a new Class 2 auto license application from B&A Prime Rental Incorporated, 19 Franklin R. McKay Road, with 4 storage spaces.
Thank you. Is there anyone here to speak in favor? Is there anyone here to speak in favor? Auto license for B&A Prime Rental. Sorry if people weren't able to hear.
It's them. The girl with the black hat.
Is there anyone?
She's leaving.
Okay. Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Is there anyone here to speak neither for nor against? Hearing none. Councilor Morrissey, do you see any reason to?
I think
Oh.
that's,
Are you here to speak in favor?
Yes.
Okay, welcome, please.
How you doing?
Yeah.
My name is Ali Gunaim. This is my lovely wife, Seema Chopra.
Yes, hi, how are you?
She married us. How you doing? We have a business already in Attleboro, a body shop, and on 19 Franklin McKay Road, and we kind of every now and then we have like a drought in business, so we're looking to get like a license to be able to have access to the auction, to go buy like 3 or 4 cars at a time that are in accidents, like minor damage and stuff, fix them up, keep our people busy at the body shop, and then turn them around and sell them again in the auction. We're not looking for a parking lot or like cars to be there and selling and financing and all this. We're just gonna be doing that as like on the side of what we do now. So we were hoping you can grant us a permit to do so.
Perfect. Are there any questions, Councilor Sawyer?
Hi.
How you doing?
Is this right near your other body shop business, or is it a distance away?
No, it's in the same building.
Oh.
I wasn't prepared to speak, honestly. I thought it was optional to come or not, but I'm glad you guys gave us the opportunity to explain a little more. So the building is big. It's 5,000 square feet, and we use about 2/3 of the building for the body shop wise, and then the front is like offices and stuff, and we'll have like an area in the front to have like our files and documents and stuff like that.
We have a couple parking spots allotted in the back, about 3, just for vehicles that we will be working on until they're resold at the auction. So it's simply just to purchase and then resell at the auction, not to have an open used car dealership. No signage, no customers, no traffic, just for our own work.
Councilor Angelo, then Councilor Morrissey.
Excuse me. Thanks, President Cobus. I'm very familiar with Franklin McKay Road. I worked there for like 15 years. So if you're coming from, you're going south on County Street and you're taking a right on Franklin McKay Road, whereabouts is your building?
So you start with power equipment to the right, and then with the next building, right?
So you're the second one
Yes,
on
sir.
the right-hand side?
Yes, sir, yeah.
It used to be the IPSCO.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The beige off-white building.
All right, okay, all right, thank you.
Councilor Morrissey.
Hi, I just want to clarify, so when you're going to take these cars off the lot to an auction off-site and sell them there?
Correct.
Okay,
Public auction, yeah.
Yep.
very good. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Hearing none. Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate you
very much.
Good night.
Thank
Thanks.
you so much.
Is there anyone else to speak in opposition? Is there anyone to speak neither for nor against? Hearing none. Councilor Morrissey, do you see any reason to keep this public hearing open?
I do not.
Thank you. I declare this public hearing closed. And Madam Clerk, will you read the third public hearing?
Certainly. Third public hearing regarding proposed ordinance amendment to section 1-9, time and place of municipal council meetings of the revised ordinances of the city of Attleboro to add 1-9.4, no regular meeting of the municipal council shall be held on any day on which a municipal, state, or federal primary or general election is conducted within the city. Any regular meeting otherwise scheduled for such a day shall be postponed and held on the call of the council president at the next appropriate time, and the meeting shall be treated in the same manner as if the meeting had fallen on a legal holiday.
Thank you. Is there anyone here to speak in favor? Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Is there anyone here to speak neither for nor against? Hearing none, Councilor Tavares, do you see any reason to keep this public hearing open?
I do not.
I declare this public hearing closed. And Madam Clerk, will you read the next public hearing?
Certainly, Mr. President. Fourth public hearing regarding proposed resolution of the Attleboro Municipal Council authorizing a tax increment exemption, which is a TIE, agreement for Mill Properties Incorporated.
Thank you. Is there anyone here to speak in favor?
Thank you very much, councilors. I really appreciate this opportunity. I wanted to start off just by laying out for the councilors here and for some of the members of the public.
Real quick, your name and...
I'm sorry, yes,
All right,
absolutely. Christopher McDermott, I'm the Economic Development Director with the city.
Thank you.
I wanted to start off the meeting, or this presentation, just by laying out for some of the members here exactly what a tie and an HDIP agreement are. There are two separate but interrelated agreements that provide tax relief for multifamily market rate developments. So state law allows the city to offer ties for such projects, and this provides a percentile relief on the new value that a project creates. So if a developer is coming in and they're developing a new multifamily project, they still pay full taxes on the existing value of that property. It's the new value that they create that a tax break is provided on. While a development While development of this type can include up to 20% affordable units, the tie and the HDIP tax relief cannot be applied to those units. So when it comes to that relief, those units need to be cut out. And these agreements last for a period of between 5 to 20 years, usually with a decreasing amount or percentage to the relief that's provided. In the city of Attleboro, ties are negotiated by the Economic Development Incentive Board, which includes myself, the planner, the mayor, the assessor, the treasurer, the council president, and the finance committee chair. And then they are approved or denied by the municipal council. Once a project is awarded a tie agreement, they can then approach the Commonwealth's Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities and seek housing development tax credits. Now, these are tax credits that amount between $2 to $2.5 million, generally speaking, for qualified project expenditures. Those are generally expenses that are related to the construction and the development of the project. It's a one-time payment. They're released once a project is completed and at least 80% leased, as determined by the state. In this case, they are budgeted, well, on a year-to-year basis, they are budgeted within either the state budget or an economic development bond bill. And this year, $30 million have been accredited to HLC for use in this type of tax relief over the course of 2026. The developer in this case intends to seek about $2 million in housing development tax credits this round, which we expect to open sometime in June. So just to demonstrate, there's also a bit of a geographical nature to this project as well. The city opted into this program in 2020. The HDIP zone is centered around the downtown, and that's intentional. It's intended to concentrate growth where the city already has a high degree of density right at the center of its urban core, and also approximate to different amenities such as shops, cafes, and also transit hubs such as the GATRA transit station and MBTA station. I also want to point out that this project and this program complements more traditional subsidy programs that support affordable housing. So this is not being done at the expense of affordable housing. It's being done parallel to it. There are a number of affordable housing projects that have come forward in the downtown. These include the Union Street Mills at 37 Union Street, which were actually brought forward by this very same developer. And right up the street, the former high school at 135 County Street, which is still moving forward and is itself about a 10-minute walk away from the train station in the opposite direction. So that brings us to the proposed project. So what we're discussing is the redevelopment of the former composite module site by Mill Properties, Inc., and again, the developer responsible for the Union Street Mills. They're bringing forward a 5-story, 141-unit market rate residential development. I'll let them speak to the specifics of the proposal itself in a few minutes, but the project includes 21 studios, 55 single-bedroom units, and 65 two-bedroom units. One of the features that we really like about this is it does have one-to-one parking on site, with bike racks also included, and it creates an estimated new value, again, that increment of about $34.2 million. So they approached us around this past November with an initial tie structure that laid out a declining 20-year tie that started at 100% for fiscal years 1 through 5 and declining finally to 25% between fiscal years 16 and 20. This awarded them a savings of about $5.3 million, and it afforded the city an additional revenue of about $3.2 million over that time period. We felt that this was an aggressive structure, so we entered into negotiations with the developer regarding this. Over the ensuing months, we developed a new structure that capped the tie at 85%, cut it down by 5 years, so there's 5 years between fiscal years 16 and 20 at 0%, and recaptured about $532,800 that benefit. In the end, they accrue a savings of $4.75 million, while we realize an increased revenue of about $3.73. I should also add that on top of this, there's roughly 143 spaces. If you average that to about $12,500 per vehicle, there's an additional personal property tax to the city of about $893,750. So that's also over that 20-year period.
And if I could interrupt briefly, are you saying that this tie is for 15 years as opposed to what may have been reported?
Yep, exactly. Okay. Yep. This reduces it down to 15 as opposed to the initial 20.
Okay.
So the rationale for advancing the request. First of all, there are the financial constraints. Without the tie and the state HDIP relief, the project only garners an ROI of around 5.5% to 6%. This return was insufficient to attract the additional investors necessary to move the project forward. And speaking with the developer, they explained that they really need something that centers around a 7% return. Which brings me to my second point. Without the return and the additional investors, we're unable to receive the additional tax revenue that this project would produce. It's anticipated that there's going to be an additional 3.73 in tax revenue over 20 years, which averages out to about $186,400 a year, and an estimated again $893,000 in personal property taxes over the time, on average about $45,000. On top of that, and adding to this, the demolition and remediation costs. Removal of the existing structure is anticipated to cost about $1.5 million, and is anticipated to extend the project by about 2.5 months. Last but not least, as I mentioned, we do appreciate that there is one-to-one parking on this site, which affords each unit a parking. It's also within a 10-minute walk of the Gatra Intermodal Station. It has on-site storage for 128 bicycles. Above and beyond all this, though, is the support that it lends to our continued downtown revitalization. It's a cohesive development. It replaces an existing structure with a similarly scaled project, so it fits in with the existing landscape. It has positive externalities. The project is anticipated to attract households making between $80,000 and $100,000 a year, roughly speaking. These new residents have the expendable income that's necessary to support local shops, go to the local cafe, maybe even start a business of their own. I point out that our own 2021 Downtown Action Strategy points out that for every 1,000 new residents, the neighborhood could support 5 new retail establishments and 1 new restaurant, each of these new employment and business opportunity for the city. So for that, I would encourage this council to respectfully move this proposal forward as it increases the city's housing stock, capitalizes on and extends the momentum of other recent developments, and attracts new residents and businesses to the downtown. And if there are no questions, I'll turn it over to our friends over at Blacktop.
Are there any questions for Chris? Councilman Marcy.
Why do you say that it has to be 100% market rate? Because I was under the impression the program, it was a minimum of 80% market rate.
It's a minimum 80% market rate, but you can't apply the tie or the HDIP tax relief to those units. So you can have a development that has 80% market rate and 20% affordable, but the tax relief would not be applied to those units, so those units become
So only
less developed.
it wouldn't apply to the affordable units, but it would apply to the rest.
Exactly, yes.
So you could essentially include some affordable units.
Theoretically, you could, but like I said, if the expenses and the pro forma don't mesh out without the tax relief, that makes those untenable.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Is there anyone else to speak in favor?
Thank you, Chris. Thank you to the City Council for having us in to present our project and for considering our request for the tie. My name is Paul Hickey. I work for a company called Black Diamond Real Estate Advisors. I was brought on board by the Jones family to manage the redevelopment of this particular site. We were also involved in the redevelopment of the 37 Union Street adjacent to this project. I have with me. Oh, sorry. I have with me Tom Jones, representing the Jones family, who own the property, and Bob Kodatek, who is the Jones family long-standing advisor and attorney. So we have the site location plan shown on the screen. Do you mind if I walk to the screen?
Please.
Here's the project site here, Union Street and Mill Street right there. We think this is ideally located for a project such as this, market rate multifamily apartments. Some of the attributes that make it an outstanding project is, of course, the Attleboro Center with its shops and restaurants, service retail, and other services. We have the hospital right directly down the street, a major area employer. We have the proximity to the Route 95, and of course, we are directly adjacent to the train station. So we think this is ideally sited for a project such as this. Just another view of the site. This is from the assessor's maps. Similar to the project that was presented before us, this is our main development site here at the corner of Mill and Union. There is the existing development that the Jones family undertook several years ago at 37 Union Street, and then we are proposing satellite parking that supports the new development down the block right there. And again, the ratio of parking to units is 1-to-1. What I'm showing here now is the existing structure on site. What you're looking at here is at the corner of Union and Mill Street. The site is made up of this structure, which is a wood-framed factory building built in the turn of the century. Behind this is a concrete-framed building that was built shortly after that, and then a couple of outbuildings that contained utilities, boiler plant, and other utilities in the back, which are steel and brick buildings. So the Jones family has operated a manufacturing operation in this complex since the mid-'60s. They've since moved those operations off-site. The Jones family, as a longstanding business owner in the city of Attleboro, is interested in continuing their relationship with Attleboro and continue to run a business on this site, hence the redevelopment. They feel like they're embedded in the community, and they want to continue to maintain those connections. This is a rendering of the proposed development from the same corner. So the design of the building was carefully done to do a few things. One, as you can see, the stone base. The stone will be of a scale that is relatable to a pedestrian on the sidewalk. It breaks up the mass of the building in a vertical direction, creating, again, that pedestrian scale at the sidewalk. Horizontally, we've also broken up the building, both with a change of materials and also an undulating facade. And that breaks up the building on a horizontal plane. In addition, the design aesthetic includes details that are reminiscent of a turn-of-the-century factory building, but we were careful not to make it a reproduction, a Disney World type reproduction of a factory building. So you can see certain details of brackets on the cornice line with a heavy cornice. We recreated the tower element with the heavy cornice. This tower actually exists on this block on the existing building, but we wanted to mark the sort of entry of the building on Union Street, so we recreated the tower on Union Street. We've maintained the street wall along Union Street and Mill Street, again, to create that urban pedestrian environment that we were looking for. And the color. So we uncovered a piece of the existing building, which we think which had some paint on it, which we think represented either the original or an early color of the existing factory building. So we intentionally used that color on the building to sort of harken back to the heyday of the site and the manufacturing history of the site. This is another view further down Mill Street, kind of near where the train overpass is. You can see the building is a U-shaped. I'll show you a site plan in a second, but the building is U-shaped with a courtyard in the center, where we're accommodating parking sort of tucked behind the building, again to maintain that sort of urban aesthetic along the streetscape. So this is a site plan. A couple things I want to point out here. The Jones family owns this entire site, this entire block, with the exception of a couple of buildings down at this end here. I think actually just this building they don't own down here. We have viewed this block as a sort of master planned development project over the last several years. And it contains all of the elements of a well-designed master planned project. We have retail down at this end of the block. We have affordable housing, which we did in this building. This is 100% affordable housing, affordable and workforce housing that was done as an historic rehab. And then we have our new project here, which is a market rate housing, as you know. We have met with every city department, and we have responded to every one of their comments. Some of the major moves we made to accommodate those comments. There was a concern about sightlines at this intersection. So to respond to that, we worked with Gary in the planning department and the police department, and we actually moved our building back on the site a little bit to the, call it the west, plan east, and we clipped the corner of the building right here, which actually cost us a couple of 2-bedroom units and made us change these to 1-bedroom units, but it increased the, it increased the sight lines at that intersection to accommodate safety there.
Can we make sure to stay by the mic?
Sorry.
Thank you.
Sorry. Let's see. The parking, we are planning on including EV parking, EV charging stations. We have bike storage in the building, about 100 spaces in the building and another 30 spaces or so exterior to the building. The exterior bike storage, we are planning on including e-bike charging stations.
It's the first time I heard of that.
We are planning to, the design will include environmentally sensitive elements, and we are planning to apply to an organization called the USGBC, U.S. Green Building Council, for a LEED certification. LEED stands for Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design. The organization rates buildings on a scale from certified, silver, gold, platinum. We're not sure where we're going to be in that rating system, but we plan on applying through that organization and getting a certification, which sort of drives the design towards an environmentally sensitive design. Things like energy savings, HVAC systems, water-saving fixtures, a certain number of EV stations that we talked about, bicycle storage. All those elements sort of go into this rating system, and you get a rating again from certified through platinum. Just a quick slide on the retail component of the block. The Jones family, sorry. I do tend to wander when I speak. The Jones family is looking at giving the retail at the far end of the block a facelift. So we're looking at unifying the cornice line, unifying the window, the storefront base around that corner, new glass storefronts. So again, this is just sort of conceptually what we're looking at down there, but we are planning on a sort of a facelift down that end of the block. Why are we asking for a tie? Couple of reasons. We have high site development costs that, as Chris pointed out, we have an existing building that requires demolition. Before we demolish the building, we do have to abate some hazardous materials that are in the building. There are some soil conditions that we have to deal with as well. So the site development costs are quite extensive for this project. In general, just construction prices are very high right now. Material costs are high, labor costs are high, and it becomes a math problem. you model what you can get for rents against what it costs you to build, and that results in a return on the costs. The marketplace, so the Jones family is not going to finance this building themselves. They will go out and seek investment partners to do this project with them. In order to attract investment partners to this project, we have to demonstrate that this project will return something like a 7%, what they call return on cost. Return on cost means, your rent coming in minus your operating expenses, that's your operating income. That number divided by what it costs you to build, that's your return on cost. In order to attract any investors, you need something like a 7% return on cost. Based on our models right now, with the tie and with the HDIP grant that we're seeking, our return on cost is in the 6.8 range. So we're kind of on the edge. We think we can make it work with investors, but it's on the edge. Without the tie and without the HDIP grant, we are at a 5.5% return. The project just would not go forward. That's what I have for a presentation. If you guys have any questions, happy to answer.
Do we have any questions? Councilor Delicio.
Thank you. Thanks for the presentation. Question, have you done a traffic study?
We have.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
So I didn't come prepared to present traffic in detail. We are in front of the ZBA right now, which we did a presentation at several weeks ago. And we went through a very detailed analysis of the traffic. I would say the outcome is similar to what was discussed with the previous developer. There's a couple intersections that we may need to do some small tweaking to. But generally speaking, the traffic generated by our project does not significantly affect the area intersections.
Thank you.
Councilor McIntyre.
Yes, I was wondering if you could go into the Jones family's rationale for transitioning this from an industrial use to a residential use. Why are they developing it and not reinvesting and trying to fill it up with industrial tenants?
So, modern industrial users want single-story buildings with high clear heights, 32 feet clear heights. They want ground floors that can support very heavy floor loads, and they want non-combustible structures, basically meaning steel structures. This building doesn't have any of those attributes. It really doesn't work as a modern industrial building.
Thank you.
Are there other questions? I believe we had talked about first floor commercial. Is there still any talk about having something on the first floor?
So the ZBA brought that up as well. We are working with them through that. We are going to present some options to them on that front. The option we're looking at is to take over that first floor apartment on this corner and create a small retail space on that corner. But we're working through the details with the planning department and the ZBA on that.
Thank you. And then I know we've talked a little bit about sort of the previous tie that was before us that did not pass in this. Can you specifically talk about what the differences are with this one as compared to the other one?
I'm not intimately familiar with the other one, to be honest. I know that one of the...
I could follow up, or...
You want to speak to that, or?
We can send that to the council afterwards.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, that's fine. Councilor Holmes?
Thank you. I just have, so the parking, some people will have parking that's closer to their unit and then others will have, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I think about 2/3 of the parking is accommodated on the site, and then about 1/3 of it is accommodated down the block a little bit. This is the existing 37 Union Street project, the affordable project. It accommodates all its parking here and a little bit here.
But it's one-to-one parking, correct?
Our project is one-to-one parking, yes.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions? Hearing none, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else to speak in favor? Anyone else to speak in favor? Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Is there anyone here to speak neither for nor against? All right. Yes, please. And just your name and address for
My name
the.
is Kathy Lyons. I'm at 116 Wright Circle in Attleboro.
Thank you.
We have just been inundating downtown with apartments. Are they all full? Does anybody are they full?
We can get that answer for you, or
I can say that the tie projects we've had, so 54 Union Street and 2739 South Main Street, they both had to reach 80% capacity in order to receive closure on their projects, both of which did. And from what I understand, 2739 at least is completely full, yes, I believe 54.
So we need, you're telling me that there's a strong need for more apartments in downtown Attleboro.
Yes.
Not worrying about what's being done over by where Miller's Roast Beef is and everything, right? I mean, the town of Attleboro needs more downtown apartments.
It's-
Not just because it's close to the trade, but they need more. That's one question that I have. Number two, what is market rate now?
Is there a statement though that it's a
Yes,
we can,
I'm questioning, why they need, I mean.
Well, we can get back to you with
I
the
was a
answers,
buil-
but is there a
I was a builder. I've built in
Okay.
Attleboro, so I never got any tax breaks for anything that I built. So I'm just curious as to why. I understand the 6% and the 7% and the need to get all of that, but I don't see anything in downtown Attleboro that's attracting anything. There's no grocery stores that you don't need a car to go to, whichever way you go. There's no drugstores that you don't need a car to go to. There's a couple of restaurants, that's it. So you're talking about cafes and shops and everything else. There's nothing like that in downtown Attleboro. All we're getting is more and more apartments, and I don't know if they're full. And I don't know if you're gonna, I don't know what market rate is, but if you're gonna get market rate for these apartments, I'd like to see seniors get a break for tax, other than having to, volunteer their time than a builder. I'm a builder. So I
would
just
you rather
don't
us
get it. I'm
classify this
not
as in opposition?
I'm in opposition
Okay.
of getting a tax break. I don't see, I haven't heard enough reason other than, somebody wants to build on property that they've had for a long time and make a dollar. I'm still building here and in Virginia. So, I mean, I'm not unaware of getting that, but I just don't think, I've gone through all kinds of towns recently, in a few states, and I see the downtowns in areas that are close to us. And, it's sad. I would rather, if you're gonna have something downtown, if you wanna build something, I'd rather see a grocery store go in there. I'd rather see, something like that, rather than more apartments. Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions? Hearing none, thank you. Is there anyone else to speak neither for nor against? Gary, welcome.
Council President, members of Municipal Council, again, my intent wasn't to speak tonight, but the speaker before me said, well, I'd rather see a grocery store, I'd rather see businesses. There are some land uses where you can build and they shall come. Economic development isn't one of those. You can't just build and hope someone's going to shop there. The market conditions have to be there. So what we're following is a paradigm that started or was planted, if you may, the seed, let's say circa 1992 with the Robbins administration, when we started with this entire revitalization effort. And I'm going to cite a quote. It was from former Congressman Barney Frank, who said, if you don't have 40 years, don't get into urban redevelopment, urban revitalization. It takes that long. So if you see from the early 90s, with every subsequent administration, through the current administration, we've been following the urban renewal plan that was approved in 2007. We've amended the zoning ordinance numerous times to improve development in the downtown. We've adopted the TOD ordinance. We've adopted the MBTA ordinance. There were a few others, not off the top of my head, but the purpose is that we've been trying to attract residential development to the downtown with its existing infrastructure. That's kind of been what the land use policy is. And not necessarily encourage development in the out areas because it's cutting down trees and where there might not be infrastructure. So this is a very conscious decision, and it's been manifested with all the development in the downtown. And we need to have that critical mass of housing development in the downtown to create that wealth, to create that pedestrian traffic, to which then economic development or the grocery store will come. You know, I get that question all the time, Gary, when we got a nice a pharmacy here or a smoke shop here or a grocery store, I wish I had those cards in my sleeve and I could play that card. It doesn't work that way. You can't just build economic development and hope it comes. It just doesn't work that way. And it is an absolute conscious decision to encourage residential development in the downtown. Most apparent reason is all the effort that the redevelopment authority has been doing with the TOD, with Riverfront Drive, with the MassWorks grant, with the development of Renaissance Station North, with the development of One Wall Street, a lot of the other developments in the downtown. Yeah, we're creating that critical mass, and it's going to take time. It's going to take time, but it will come. But we can't just ask a developer to create floor space, and you're not going to necessarily have the pedestrian foot traffic to sustain it.
Does anyone have questions for Gary? I just have a quick question. So this particular project in the tie, does that align with the overall comprehensive plan for the city of Attleboro, including sort of the new one that's currently a draft?
So, Council President, the development does. The comprehensive plan doesn't dive into the weeds and at 5,000 feet to
But
talk
the
about how
development
to-
does.
The development does.
Okay.
The introduction of housing in the downtown, absolutely it does.
Thank you. Are there any other questions for the city planner? Very nice. Thank you very much.
Thank you, folks.
Is there anyone else to speak neither for nor against? Welcome.
Hello, Council. John Verns, 88 Richardson Avenue. I would say I would support this project, but I would add, I'm not sure, why is the city picking winners and losers here? I can't imagine, I'm a single-family home builder in town, I can't imagine my bottom line being the basis for any of you making a decision as to whether to approve my project or not, right? I don't think you get into the weeds. Do you really care what I make for a profit? That's on me to decide, and that's on me to offer a product that the public can afford. So I think in granting it, this tie, you're picking winners and losers, and I get it. You want to see revitalization in the downtown, I get it. But it seems to be at the expense of all of us who are playing by the rules and paying fair taxes. That's all I got to say.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Thank you. Is there anyone else to speak neither for nor against? Hearing none, this with Councilor Delicio. Do you see any reason to keep this public hearing open?
I do not.
Thank you. I declare this public hearing closed. And Madam Clerk, we read the last and final public hearing notice.
Fifth and final public hearing for this evening is regarding the establishment of a joint ad hoc charter study committee with the objective of making municipal government more transparent, effective, efficient, and responsive to the current and future needs of the city's growing community.
Thank you. Is there anyone here to speak in favor? Welcome, Mayor.
Good evening, President Kovas. Kathleen D. Simone, Mayor. I'm here at the request of Councilor Tavares. I did supply the council with a 4-page memo. I'm happy to reiterate all the points made therein, but I'll summarize by saying this. Number one, a thorough review of the charter has not been conducted since 1973. It's something that was on my mind when I was on the council and I started formulating an approach to do that. I think the time has come. I think this is a path forward for all the reasons I stated therein. I think it's an opportunity for my office and you guys and you folks to work together along with the school committee in a collaborative effort across government, which I think is something that we desperately need to model right now. And I think it'll be a really valuable exercise. I hope you support it, and I also welcome your support of the request for funding for the Collins Center to guide the group along. There's a whole lot of nuances here that some people may or may not be knowledgeable about, what it means to be a home rule charter community, certain things that you can and cannot do under state law, stuff like that. But, you know, not to say that people couldn't get up to speed, but I always appreciate having experts around to kind of to help people out. So I think it's meaningful, worthwhile, and I hope we can get started, because this has been a long time coming.
Perfect. Are there any questions for the mayor? Councilor Holmes, and then Councilor Tavares. Go ahead, Councilor Holmes. No.
Sorry, okay. So how do you envision, what do you envision happening with this? That there would be, what's the process, I guess?
We form a committee, all right? We form a committee of residents. We have the Collins Center work with them. They get together as a group, and they are pretty much on their own. I don't intend to have any involvement. I don't think any elected officials should, unless we're asked to do so. But basically, Council Holmes, once the group is formed, they would become their own entity and work with the Collins Center and set their agenda and elect a chair or a president and set a schedule and conduct public meetings and share information and educate people and invite public comment, make it publicly available on the website, on social media, to get the word out, because we all have an interest in this. It isn't just about the folks that we usually see. It's also a lot about the folks we don't. So does that make sense? Basically, the group would chart its path. And then, if you want to know how it would go, the result of this would be what would be called a special act or a home rule charter. It would first come before this body to adopt. If you adopted it and I approved it, we would then send it to the state legislature to be approved by the state legislature. But it would not become effective unless and until it was passed on a ballot measure in the city. So the voters would have a say, actually a couple of says, right? They could provide input in the community meetings to the Charter Study Committee. They could provide input to this body when you have a public hearing. They could provide input to the state legislature as to whether or not they should adopt it, and they could certainly vote for or against, should it be placed on the ballot.
Councilor Tavares.
Thank you for coming down, Mayor. So you answered the question that I was just going to ask clarification or confirmation on, which is, so under a charter study commission, of course, that's all statutory, right? And it lays out the process, which is very, very rigid, as you've clearly laid out in the memo, and as you know, anyone can read the statute and find out for themselves. So one of the things under the charter study committee that you're proposing that would give us more flexibility, obviously, is the process itself.
Indeed.
But then at the latter end, a special act doesn't necessarily require voter approval, but you mentioned it explicitly here in the memo.
Most
and
definitely.
here in your public testimony as well. So that was something that I wanted to confirm, because I know initially when I was looking through this process, that's something that is not necessarily built into it like it is in the Charter Study Commission, but it's something that would be valuable, I think, in a Charter Study Committee.
100%, Councilor Tavares, it's not required, but it is certainly recommended practice. I mean, we can't go through all of this seeking to serve the residents now and into the future without having them vote on it, 100%. So you're right, it's not required, but it's certainly, I'm sure you agree, as I know, that it should indeed be put on the ballot for folks. So it's pretty exciting. We haven't done this. We have not done, I know Councilor Dolan a couple of years ago amended the charter to make it more gender neutral. We've piecemealed changes, but a thorough review is a whole different way of doing things. And as I pointed out, I think it's fascinating that our charter predates Prop 2.5 and the open meeting law predates a whole lot of stuff. It's a different world for those reasons and others. So I think it'd be a really exciting educational exercise and certainly a great act of community engagement.
Perfect. Are there any other questions? Thank you for being here.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else to speak in favor? Mr. Davis, welcome.
Good evening, Mr. President and councilors. I wanted to speak in favor of the idea of having a charter review committee. not to correct the mayor, but we have had similar committees in the past, the last of which 28 years ago I chaired. And a decade or so prior to that, there had been another committee, I believe chaired by former building inspector Doug Semple at the time. We chose 28 years ago not to recommend any changes to the charter at that point, which may make it appear as if nothing was done. Let me assure you, for the whole year of 1998, I spent hundreds of hours, along with other individuals who committed large amounts of their time to go over every single word in that charter. It's only 35 pages long, but believe me, there's a lot to be considered there. One of the things I want to talk about is I want to make sure that we don't turn this into a political show. You know, the charter isn't a liberal, conservative, left, right, whatever document. It's really the structure, the backbone of how the city functions. All the political things that we think about are things that are decided in ordinances and things that come before your body. But the charter lays out really the fundamental list of responsibilities. Who has the authority to do X and who has the authority to do Y, and what happens if someone violates that? You know, in the world we live here today, where there's constant talk about separation of powers, I think there's no better time than right now to review the charter. And my biggest fear, though, is that an element of partisan political nature will seep into this. I would recommend to you, having gone through this, and I've also consulted with I've had other communities reach out to me for my advice when they were going to do charters in their communities. I would recommend that you put people on there who are good at long-term planning and structure and understand, you know, the logistics of developing a program. Not people who have strong partisan political views, left, right, whatever we want to call it. Because really, this is like developing the skeleton of the body. And times have changed. In the 28 years since I chaired that committee, times have changed. But the reality is, historically, very few things have really changed as far as powers, how we divide power. You know, we still have an 11-member council. We still have a mayor. You know, theoretically, you could make significant changes to that. You could decide that you want to, you know, increase the powers of the council or increase the powers of the mayor. I mean, the state guidelines allow you a lot of flexibility in doing that. But I would recommend you try to shy away from those overtly political actions and just look for the changes that may have come due to, I'll say, technological advances. I mean, 28 years ago, I didn't even have a cell phone or a laptop when we reviewed the charter. There may very well be some things that couldn't even have been really envisioned back in, was it 73, when Mayor Robbins and a group of other people first formed the first charter commission to write the charter. You know, 50 years is a long time. And I think they've done a great job. We've had very few circumstances I can think of in all the years that I've been involved. There have been very few circumstances where I think anyone has ever really challenged the charter as the validity of it as a document. You know, we all are familiar with the Joe Caponegro situation that arose a few years ago, and I was embarrassed by that because I feel, in my opinion, that I certainly missed something. I think that's an example of a structural flaw in there that I didn't pick up on at the time. But again, that's a case of, I think we all have beliefs that we're going to adhere to certain pre-accepted social norms. There may be things that are permissible in a document like that, but we make the assumption that no one would ever do X or do Y. I think maybe in the world we live in today, there may be a lot of fine-tuning of some of these areas in the document to make sure that we're not making assumptions that people will behave in a certain way. We're clearly defining whether they can or can't. And I could go on and on and on, but I just wanted to get up for a minute and express that, first, the mayor deserves a lot of credit, because mayors have been talking about this for years, and it's always easy to just kick the can down the road. And Mayor DeSimone has stepped up and you know, made this come to fruition. And I don't think it's going to be as easy an experience to the people who do this as you might think. If you get together 9 individuals to look at some of the lines in the charter, you're going to find, there isn't just 2 different ways of looking at it, left or right. There might be 9 different opinions on what something really means and whether it's ideal or not. And to that, I'll just close by saying, I appreciate you giving serious thought to this, and I hope you give a lot of thought to the individuals that you pick to be on there, because I think you're making it as good a document as the quality of the individuals that you pick to do that. And thank you all very much.
Thank you. Do we have
If anyone has any
questions
questions,
for
I'm
Mr.
happy to.
Davis?
Thank you, John.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there anyone else here to speak in favor? Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Is there anyone here to speak neither for nor against? Hearing none. Councilor Tavares, do you see any reason to keep the public hearing open?
I do not.
I declare this public hearing closed. And we will move on to Committee of the Whole. I move to enter Committee of the Whole.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, we are now operating under Committee of the Whole. Is there anyone here with anything that they would like to address the council on? Is there anyone that would like to address the council? Hearing none, I move to arise from Committee of the Whole.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. We are arisen from Committee of the Whole. And Madam Clerk, will you read the mayor's communication for us?
Sure, Mr. President. March 3rd, 2026. Dear Municipal Council, I respectfully submit a communication from Director of Planning and Development, Gary Arasian, and hereby request a public hearing be held on April 7th, 2026, relative to the administration's CDBG Program Year 2025 Annual Action Plan for the period July 1, 2026 through June 30th, 2027, and also to the authorization to submit said CDBG Program Year 2026 Annual Action Plan to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development on or before May 15th, 2026.
Thank you. Finance and Councilor Delicio, would you like to call for a public hearing on April 7th?
I would.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
I hereby request a transfer of $15,000 from the Citywide Reserve Fund account for transfer to a mayor's salary and wages account to replenish funds used for the earned time buyout for the employee in the mayor's office.
Thank you. Finance Committee?
I respectfully submit a communication from Superintendent of Public Works, Michael Tyler, regarding the need for funds to replace the NO2 and the CO2 sensors in Mass Air Unit at 101 Lamb Street. Therefore, I hereby request a transfer of $14,788.65 from the Citywide Reserve Fund for Transfer account to the Public Works HVAC Services account.
Public Works?
I respectfully submit a communication from Superintendent of Park and Forestry, Derek Corsi, regarding the donation of $25,000 from the Olivia Knighton Foundation to Cape and Park Zoo. These funds are requested to be utilized for projects that enhance the zoo and guest experiences in accordance with Section 1-12 of the revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro. I hereby request acceptance of this generous donation to the City of Attleboro.
City Property and Claims?
I respectfully submit a communication from Fire Chief Scott T. LaChance regarding the need for overtime funding to cover the full-time staffing of Rescue 4 for the remainder of fiscal year 2026. Therefore, I request an appropriation of $527,625 from the undesignated fund balance free cash general government account to the fire overtime account.
Public Safety?
I hereby request an appropriation of $183,16 from the undesignated fund balance free cash general government account to the citywide streetlights account to replenish funds used to purchase Microsoft 365 and license along with the system support.
Finance Committee?
I respectfully submit a communication from Director of Budget Administration, Mason Lord, requesting an amendment to the local ordinance governing the Animal Shelter Revolving Fund. Currently, the fund is restricted to capital improvements. I recommend expanding this language to allow for use of the fund towards facility maintenance and related operational expenses. Therefore, I hereby request the following amendment to the revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro as follows. Strike the existing language under Section 20-13.3, Purposes and Expenditures. During each fiscal year, the Animal Control Officer, with the approval of the Police Chief and the Mayor, may incur liabilities against and spend monies from the Animal Shelter Fund for capital improvements of the Animal Shelter building. Replace it with the following. During each fiscal year, the Animal Control Officer, with the approval of the Police Chief and the Mayor, may incur liabilities against and spend monies from the Animal Shelter Fund for capital improvements of the Animal Shelter building, routine, preventative maintenance of the facility, and contractual services related to the upkeep and operational integrity of the shelter grounds and buildings.
Thank you. Ordinances Committee and Councilor Tavares, would you like to have a public hearing on April 7th?
Yes, please.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes.
I respectfully request a transfer of $11,400 from the citywide reserve fund for transfer account to the mayor part-time account to fund the part-time special projects coordinator position until the end of June.
Finance Committee?
Sincerely, Kathleen D. Simone, Mayor.
Thank you. And Madam Clerk, were there any clerk's communications?
There is no clerk's communication for this evening.
Outstanding. Then we'll move on to committee reports, and as always, we'll start from my right. Councilor Angelo.
Thank you, President Cobus. Reporting for Human Resources Veterans Committee, I move to approve, well, from the docket of March 3rd, 2026, I move to approve the 52 reappointments to positions for the terms as indicated as discussed last week.
Second.
Motion is in order. Councilor Angelo?
Basically, these are all reappointments, and everything checks out. Everybody's been doing as they should, and we're very thankful to continue on with all these people.
Thank you. And just for clarity, the one individual that was discussed in committee last week was moved out to a separate vote that we'll have next. Does anyone else have any other questions? Hearing none, this requires a voice vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes.
For the docket of March 3rd, 2026, I move to approve the following reappointment to position and for the term as indicated. Peter Mello, City Solicitor, 1 year, February 2027.
Second.
Motion is in order. Councilor Angelo?
This is just a continuation of Peter being our city solicitor, and
Are there any other comments? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote for this one, and we'll start with Councilor Angelo.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Ms. Sawyer?
Yes.
Mr. McIntyre?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
No.
Vice President Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Ms. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mr. Tavares?
Yes.
Mr. Delicio?
Yes.
President Cobus?
Yes.
10 yeas, 1 nay.
Thank you. Motion passes.
for the docket of March 3rd, 2026, I move to appoint Catherine Firk to fill an unexpired term in the Attleboro Redevelopment Authority with a term to expire February 2031.
Second.
Motion is in order. Councilor Angelo?
I know it was a little difficult to hear me last week because I was having problems with my internet, and I've addressed that with Verizon, and I have an extender coming as my house is very long, and so hopefully that'll get taken care of. So I apologize for that. I have spoken with Catherine, and obviously we know Catherine. This is I am very excited to have Catherine here. I think she's going to do great, and she was I was sad to see her go, and very happy to see her back and involved. And she's an Attleboro resident, and I have I see Catherine's husband almost on a daily basis at the gym, and he also tells me that she's very excited about doing this too as well. So I encourage everybody to vote for this.
Thank you. Is there anyone else with comments on this one? Hearing none, this requires a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes.
And let me add, she'll be here next week also in front of the council.
Thank you.
Sorry. For the docket of March 3rd, 2026, I move to appoint Nicole Dimichetti to fill an unexpired term on the Traffic Study Commission with a term to expire February 2027.
Second.
Motion is in order. Counselor Angelo.
I have spoken to Nicole, and she also is excited about doing this and wants to help. And she will be here next week along with Catherine to speak. And unfortunately, I will not be here. It remains to be seen if we can discuss later about possibly Zoom or not. I'm not sure, but I'll be traveling. I'll be speaking with Councilor Tavares, hopefully that he'll be able to help me out with this.
Sounds good. Are there any other questions? I have a question, Counselor Waterman. You had mentioned that this appointment will help with the Traffic Study Commission. Do you have a quorum now without this person, or can you talk about the importance for this? To vote on
We've had a fair amount of turnover over the period. I am not sure if we have one opening right now or not. I would need to look into that. We've had some fluidity, and so if this person is, if we have the opening, I would certainly encourage this. I know that's not helpful.
Have you had meetings that you've had to postpone because you didn't have a quorum?
Yes, we've had a couple of those this year.
Counselor Angelo?
So there is an opening, that's why we're putting Nicole on. But I can't say if there is another opening addition to her as well. But Councilor Waterman is correct that there has been probably, I think, been several months where there hasn't been a quorum.
Yeah, at least twice, maybe three.
You know, yeah.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Hearing none, this requires a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes.
From the docket of March 3rd, 2026, I move to accept the donations of $100 to Stop Shop and $25 Market Basket gift cards from Albert Sullivan to the Veterans Office.
Second.
Motion is in order.
Again, we like this a lot. Ben Quell puts this to great use, and certainly I've spoken to veterans, over the years that rely heavily on this. So we thank Albert Sullivan very much.
Perfect. Are there any other comments? Hearing none, this requires a roll call vote. We'll start with Councilor Delicio.
Mr. Delicio?
Yes.
Mr. Tavares?
Yes.
Ms. Morrissey?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Vice President Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Mr. McIntyre?
Yes.
Ms. Sawyer?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
President Cobus?
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes.
For the docket of March 3rd, 2026, I move to reappoint Deborah O'Connor of 386 South Washington Street, North Attleboro, for a 2-year term as city auditor. Term to expire February 2028.
Second.
Motion is in order.
So again, I apologize because I wasn't probably too clear last week, but Debbie's then been instrumental to this city, and very thrilled for her to be continuing on for at least another couple of years.
Outstanding. Any other comments? Hearing none, this requires a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes.
That's all for Human Resources and Veterans Committee. I call for a meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you very much. Councilor Waterman?
Well, the Traffic and Transportation Committee has no business for this week.
Thank you. Councilor Sawyer?
Reporting for Zoning, Land Use, and Sustainability Committee from the docket of March 3rd, 2026. Entertain a motion to accept an undeveloped parcel of land off of Bolcom Lane, further described as Lot 4, undevelopable stormwater management containing plus or minus 61,935 square feet as shown in the plan of land entitled Definitive Subdivision Plan for Viridian Meadows Phase 2, prepared by Commonwealth Engineers and Consultants, Inc., subject to the Attleboro Conservation Commission Order of Conditions number 097-1184 dated July 13th, 2011.
Second.
Motion is in order. Councilor Sawyer?
We discussed it in committee and discussed the, and now the committee should have a copy of the backup information, but it was just this small parcel of land that I had put up on the screen last week, and that's all my comments.
Are there any further questions? Hearing none, this requires a roll call vote, starting with Counselor Angelo.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Ms. Sawyer?
Yes.
Mr. McIntyre?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Vice President Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Ms. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mr. Tavares? Mr. Delicio?
Yes.
President Cobus?
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you, motion passes. Counselor Sawyer?
That concludes the business of the zoning and land use and sustainability committee for this evening.
Thank you. Counselor McIntyre?
Reporting for the IT and Infrastructure Committee, we have one piece of business from the docket of February 3rd, 2026. I move to dissolve the IT and Infrastructure Standing Committee and create an Economic Development and Strategic Planning Standing Committee.
Second.
Motion is in order. Counselor McIntyre?
No comments. We discussed in committee last week.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, this requires a roll call vote. We'll start with Counselor Delicio.
Mr. Delicio?
Yes.
Mr. Tavares?
Yes.
Ms. Morrissey?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Vice President Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Mr. McIntyre?
Yes.
Ms. Sawyer?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
President Cobus?
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
That concludes the business for
The last time.
for the last time for the IT and Infrastructure Committee. I'll call for a committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you. Counselor Holmes?
Thank you. Reporting from Public Safety and Emergency Management Committee, from the docket of March 3rd, 2026, I move to transfer $8,164.48 from account Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer to account Fire Online Services and result of the installation of the Comcast high-speed internet at all 4 fire stations for the fire department operations.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order.
No comments. We discussed it in committee.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments? Hearing none, this requires a roll call vote, starting with Counselor Angelo.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Ms. Sawyer?
Yes.
Mr. McIntyre?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Vice President Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Ms. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mr. Tavares?
Yes.
Mr. Delicio?
Yes.
President Cobus?
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes. Counselor Holmes?
Thank you. From the docket of March 3rd, 2026, I move to appropriate $150,000 from account undesignated fund balance free cash general government to the following accounts: $75,000 to account fire ambulance purchase lease and $75,000 to account fire monitors to purchase a 2020 Dodge Ram ambulance with the power load stretcher and 5 Life Pack 15 cardiac monitors from the town of Easton.
Second.
Motion is in order.
Thank
What kind
you.
of Dodge Ram was it?
Yeah.
Sorry.
We discussed this last week. This is a little bit unique. I haven't seen this happen before, but they actually have equipment in the town of Easton that works well with our fleet. So we're encouraged to kind of purchase this. It's not something you see very often, but it does make sense for them.
Are there any other questions or comments? Hearing none, this requires a roll call vote, starting with Counselor Delicio.
Mr. Delicio?
Yes.
Mr. Tavares?
Yes.
Ms. Morrissey?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Vice President Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Mr. McIntyre?
Yes.
Ms. Sawyer?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
President Cobus?
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. That concludes the business. I'll call for committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you, Vice President Dolan.
Thank you. Reporting for Public Works Committee, from the docket of March 3rd, 2026, I move to appropriate $57,600 from account Wastewater Enterprise Fund retained earnings to account Wastewater Enterprise Fund Lights and Power to replenish funds used after an internal transfer was completed to enter into contract with CDM Smith, Inc.
Second.
Motion is in order.
No comments. We discussed in committee.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments? Hearing none, this requires a roll call vote, starting with Counselor Angelo.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Mr.
Yes.
Waterman?
Yes.
Ms. Sawyer?
Yes.
Mr. McIntyre?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Vice President Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Ms. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mr. Tavares?
Yes.
Mr. Delicio?
Yes.
President Cobus?
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
From the docket of March 3rd, 2026, I move to appropriate $10,000 from account Wastewater Enterprise Fund retained earnings to account Wastewater Enterprise Fund Lights and Power to replenish funds used after internal transfer was completed for emergency electrical services at the wastewater plant.
Second.
Motion is in order.
I have no comments. We discussed in committee.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments? Hearing none, this requires a roll call vote, starting with Counselor Delicio.
Mr. Delicio?
Yes.
Mr. Tavares?
Yes.
Ms. Morrissey?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Vice President Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Mr. McIntyre?
Yes.
Ms. Sawyer?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
President Cobus?
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you, motion passes. Vice President Dolan?
So that's all the business for the Public Works Committee, and call for a committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
Want to talk about the guest for your committee next week?
Superintendent Mike Tyler will be here next week in my committee, just to go over some snow removal procedures.
Thank you. Councilor Reynolds?
City Property and Claims Committee has no business this evening, but I would like to call a committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you. Councilor Morrissey?
The License Committee has no business this evening. I will call for a meeting at the next appropriate time.
Perfect. Councilor Tavares?
Thank you, President Cobus. Reporting for ordinances, elections, and legislative matters from the docket of February 4th, 2020. I move to strike the following from the docket of February 4th, 2020. New business requesting a special commission be formed to review the city charter.
Second.
Motion is in order.
I assume you recognize me.
Yes, please, Councilor Tavares.
So, in lieu of the new business that we've just had a public hearing on for the creation of a charter study committee, I think it makes sense to strike this business at this point, as that this was really the heart of it, of addressing the city charter.
Makes sense. Any other questions or comments? This requires a voice vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes.
And that concludes the business of ordinances, elections, and legislative matters. We call for a committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you. Councilor Delizio.
Thank you. Reporting for Finance Committee. I have several motions this evening from the docket of March 3rd, 2026. I move to amend the language of Fund 2074 fireworks event to add fundraising activities for future years' fireworks events and include language for detail rate for laborers who work after hours city events, with amended fund description read as follows. I'd request a waiving of the reading as we read this.
Of course.
Second.
Motion's in order.
Thank you. I don't have any other comments, but again, just say, I think that this is the right move. It shows what the funds are, the donations that come widely from the public are used for. So I think this is a step in the right direction.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments? Hearing none, this requires a roll call vote, starting with Councilor Angelo.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Ms. Sawyer?
Yes.
Mr. McIntyre?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Vice President Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Ms. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mr. Tavares?
Yes.
Mr. Delizio?
Yes.
President Cobus?
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. From the docket of March 3rd, 2026. I move to authorize the school department to pay the following fiscal 25 fiscal obligations that were not received in time to be processed in the normal fiscal 25 business cycle. Vendor Centricity, amount $32.
Second.
Motion's in order.
Thank you. I have no comments.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, this requires a roll call vote, starting with Councilor Delizio.
Mr. Delizio?
Yes.
Mr. Tavares?
Yes.
Ms. Morrissey?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Vice President Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Mr. McIntyre?
Yes.
Ms. Sawyer?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
President Cobus?
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. From the docket of March 3rd, 2026, I move to appropriate $600,940.73 from account undesignated fund balance, free cash, general government, to account school insurance programs, health insurance, HMOs, in order for the school department to be able to use the unspent fiscal 25 net school spending funds for this current fiscal year.
Second.
Motion is in order.
I have no comments. We spoke about this about 2 hours ago.
Perfect. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, this requires a roll call vote, starting with Councilor Angelo.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Ms. Sawyer?
Yes.
Mr. McIntyre?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Vice President Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Ms. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mr. Tavares? Mr. Delizio?
Yes.
President Cobus?
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. And finally, from the docket of March 3rd, 2026, I move to appropriate $556,786.51 from account undesignated fund balance, free cash general government to account school appropriation Medicaid for eligible net school spending expenses resulting from the Medicaid reimbursement program pursuant to the memorandum of understanding on the municipal revenue sharing agreement between the city of Attleboro and the Attleboro School Department.
Second.
Motion's in order.
Again, I have no comments as we just discussed this earlier this evening.
Perfect. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, this requires a roll call vote, starting with Councilor Delicio.
Mr. Delicio.
Yes.
Mr. Tavares.
Yes.
Ms. Morrissey.
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds.
Yes.
Vice President Dolan.
Yes.
Ms. Holmes.
Yes.
Mr. McIntyre.
Yes.
Ms. Sawyer.
Yes.
Mr. Waterman.
Yes.
Mr. Angelo.
Yes.
President Cobus.
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you, motion passes.
Thank you. That's all the business for the Finance Committee, and call for a meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you. And just a quick update on the joint resolution for the Chapter 70 formula. That is being held for now because we just received information in from the state rep, and we're just able to kind of put that together today. So we didn't think it would be fair to send that out this afternoon in order to vote on it today. So with that said, we'll call for another full council meeting next Tuesday at 7 o'clock, right before the committee meetings, just to vote this one item out. And so I would expect that in your email at some point within the day or two. And so, and I apologize for doing that. Are there any other, there's no old business, there's no new business. Are there any other announcements in general? Hearing none, I move to adjourn at 9:05.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. We are adjourned at 9:05. Thanks, everyone.
Here.